staff or K&E World Network, LLC.
Live call-in talk show. Dial 1-877-932-9766 and join the conversation here on TalkTainmentRadio.com.
This is the Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neely Fuller, heard exclusively on TalkTainmentRadio.com, the world's greatest radio. Radio, the way it should be heard. And now, Mr. Neely Fuller.
If you do not understand white supremacy, which is racism, what it is and how it works, everything else that you understand will only confuse you. Only confuse you. Only confuse you.
TalkTainmentRadio.com, we go where you go, the world's greatest radio. You are now in touch with the Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. I am the co-host, Mr. Bobby, and this is radio the way it should be heard. Our call-in number is 1-877-932-9766. But you can also access this show by going to the YouTube channel, type in the word Talktainment, and then type in the word radio, and then scroll down to Talktainment number 2. And when you do that, you're there. Hit the subscribe and also the like button. Now, we would prefer that you go to the TalkTainmentRadio.com homepage and just click Listen Live. Pardon me. That's all you have to do. And, of course, we would like for you to hit the subscribe and like button there. You can Gmail me at the numero 7, Mr. Bobby, B-O-B-B-Y, at gmail.com, and I will try to read your Gmails. We are stacked up with that, but that's okay. Just put it in anyway. And also, you can hear a replay of the entire show by going to facebook.com/TalkTainment, and you can hear yourself call. Today's program being Wednesday, April the 3rd, 2019, will be about contradictions in the system of racism, white supremacy. What are contradictions and how do they work? Remember, our whole theme this year is going to be on words. That's the underlining theme of that. What do they mean? What are you saying? Do you know what they mean? How do you say it? Whatever it is that you need to say to get communication so that you know the meaning of words. Here in the Western Hemisphere, words sometimes have different meanings, so you need to understand to communicate what you are saying. Mr. Fuller will address that and your questions. Of course, it doesn't always have to be on topic, but at least give Mr. Fuller an opportunity to address the subject for today. And as you will notice, he will stay in the compensatory counter-racist code mode. He always is in that mode. And you should ask your questions with that in mind, the compensatory counter-racist code mode. We have to stay focused, as he said last week. So let me get out of the way and introduce to some and present to others Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. Good morning, Mr. Fuller.
Good morning.
Okay, you're coming in loud and clear. How are you this morning?
Still learning.
You are still learning. Okay. Contradictions. When I looked at that word of contrary came to my mind, going the opposite way. But since we deal specifically in racism, which is white supremacy, what is your concept of contradiction?
Oh, anything that causes confusion.
Yes, sir.
Yes, that's basically it. Anything that causes confusion. Things should always be very clear to everybody on the planet, all the time. Focus and clarity. Focus about what it is you intend to do and why you intend to do it, and what the result is going to be, and clarity in the way that you're going to achieve that. And that's just about it. That should apply to everybody on the planet, every minute of every day. Focus and clarity, and contradictions and dark confusion interferes with that.
Okay. All righty. Before I get started and take this phone call, let me just say this, because I've been peppered on my Gmail account with donations. Listen, For those of you that are going to make donations, particularly those of you who call in, please make sure that you make donations. You can donate and send your donations to 462 East Town Street, Columbus, Ohio, 43215. 43215. A Gmailer asked that. But also you can do this.
Yeah, East Town.
If you're going to use the post office, you can do this. Post Office Box 6184, Columbus, Ohio, 43206. And I was just told that you can also use the PayPal situation where you can make your donations through there. We appreciate that. Okay, with that out the way, and before we go further into contradictions in the system of racism, which is white supremacy, as we stay focused in particular on words, let's take this call. Okay, caller, go ahead with your question.
Sure, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Bobby. Good morning, Mr. Fuller. Mr. Fuller, I have two questions this morning. My first question is that, is there any constructive value for black males or black females in the system of white supremacy promoting or associating themselves with the things in the Northwestern Hemisphere that are called gangs, a.k.a. Bloods and Crips?
Well, I won't specify any particular so-called gangs, but it comes down to, well, first of all, what is a gang? Gangster, what all that means, and what are you going to be doing, and why are you going to be doing it? It all comes down to wants, W-A-N-T-S. What do you want to do? Everybody on the planet wants to do something. This is in the code book, the 4 basic things that you talk about when you talk about people's wants, because every creature wants to do something. Birds want to do something. Bees want to do something. Every minute, every waking moment. Of course, when you're asleep, then you don't want to do anything because your mind is not really working to send you in any specific direction. But if you're awake, and you're a creature on the planet, creature means in the form of what you call animal or people existence, then you want to do something. So when it comes to a person wanting to be a gangster or in a gang, in order to do what? What do you want to do? I want to be a gang member. Okay. Why do you want to be a gang member? That's the second question. How do you plan to be a gang member? You know, what's the qualifications of being a member of a gang? That's the third question. And then the fourth question, what do you expect the constructive result to be? And that's whether you want to be an engineer or airplane pilot, or a dope dealer, or a bike rider, in a bike club or something, or you want to be a member of a gang that carries guns and kills people. Okay? So be very specific about what you are there for. What are you there for? What is it you're doing? Because it comes down to what you want to do and what you expect to get out of what you want to do. That's that fourth question. What do you expect the constructive result to be of being a gang member? So according to the code, the counter-racist code, if it's to be non-constructive, because everything does is going to have a constructive effect or a non-constructive effect. There's no such thing as in between. That's everything, including the elements. Snow, rain, fire is going to have a constructive effect or a non-constructive effect. And that includes the activities of people. So you just look at a person who is a member of a gang and say, okay, your gang, what is it doing that has a constructive effect? That's the punchline. That's the bottom line question. Your gang, what does it do? Got a reason for existence. Got a reason for a name, for calling your name, being proud of your gang. Okay, you're proud of your game. Doing what? What does your game do that has a constructive effect? Because it's going to be constructive or non-constructive. And just be honest and upfront. Oh, if you're going to be running around killing people for fun, or glory, or for money. Okay, the question is that constructive? Is that constructive? Yes or no?
Right.
And according to the code, if the answer is no, you got no business being a member of a gang. Period.
Period. What's your second question, sir?
Thank you very much, Mr. Bobby. Actually, I wanted Mr. Fuller's commentary. In the news, unfortunately, over the last couple of days, there was a young black male that will be classified as an entertainer that was killed by another black male, allegedly. But the first thing I thought of was Mr. Fuller's concept of no contact, no conflict, and I wanted Mr. Fuller to express that to black people on why we should take that stance.
Would that be Nipsey? Would that be Nipsey Hussle you're referring to?
You have to watch it.
I would say, yeah, he's an entertainer, but unfortunately there are many black males and females to where that, unfortunately, that circumstance could be associated with that particular people all across the country.
Okay.
So I just wanted Mr. Fuller to explain the no contact, no conflict, and what is our purpose for being around other black people.
Okay, thank you for your question. Mr. Fuller?
Absolutely. In fact, I just reiterated that to myself yesterday. I wrote to underline that the one most important thing that each and every black person can do at this time, when I say at this time, I mean here in April of 2019, this year, or any other year forward, as long as we're on the planet, as long as anybody's on the planet, minimize the one most important thing that each and every black person can do. Minimize all non-necessary and or non-constructive contact with all people. In other words, don't make any contact with anybody, any kind, unless you have already thought it out that this contact is going to have a constructive effect, or you just don't make it. It's got to be necessary and it's got to be constructive. That is the greatest fault that black people have, particularly in the Northwestern Hemisphere. We make contact with each other. We seek contact with each other for too many reasons. In fact, for any reason, it should never be, that is non-constructive.
Okay.
So-called hanging out. And why is this? According to what I have written, going way back, as a slogan we should have in our minds all the time. No contact, no conflict.
Got it.
You cannot have conflict with somebody that you're not in contact with.
All right.
And that includes telephone contact.
Yes, sir. Okay, we're dealing with contradictions today in the system of racism and white supremacy. Wednesday, April the 3rd, 2019. And don't forget, if you can call in, you can donate. Please do that, because we need to keep the concept, the compensatory concept going. So please, ma'am, please, sir, do that. Management is not emphasizing me to do this, but we want to keep the concept going, and trust me, nothing is for free. So make sure you donate. I'll give the addresses later. Okay, 1-877-932-9766 is the number that you can call to participate in the show. Let's do this. Gmail. This is from Mr. Williams. Said this, Mr. Fuller. He said he's out of Washington, D.C. Mr. Fuller, I would like to ask you, is the daily news, and that was capitalized, on TV used as another tactic by white supremacists to spread falsehoods and or to keep the masses controlled or confused. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Everything that the white supremacists do, and this is important to remember.
Well, you can move that one.
If a white person is a person that believes in and practices white supremacy, which is racism, he or she does nothing that's not going to give strength to the system of white supremacy intentionally. Anything that they do intentionally and deliberately is always to make the system of white supremacy stronger. They avoid doing anything that's going to be a danger to the system of racism. Why? Because if you're a racist, it's in the best interest of you as a racist to become stronger, not weaker. So anything in any of the areas of activity, economics, you're not going to do anything in economics that's not going to make white supremacy stronger. Education, same thing. Anything that they teach, anything that they go to learn. You talk to a racist or whatnot, and you say you're setting up some kind of school, that racist mind begins to turn and say, wait a minute, is this school going to make me stronger as a racist? It's going to help me to practice better power over black people? Or is it not? Is it going to weaken me? Entertainment, the third area of activity. Same thing. Am I going to take part in this play? Is it going to help to make me stronger as a white supremacist? Or is it going to make me weaker and make a black person stronger? Stronger in a constructive manner. I'm not going to have that. I'm not going to participate. If I'm a white supremacist, no, I'm not participating in any form of entertainment that's going to help a black person do anything of constructive value. Now, they're going to do something in the third area of activity, entertainment, all right, that's going to be non-constructive for black people and constructive, giving me greater strength as a white supremacist, then I'll participate in that play or in that movie or in that event or in that festival or in that whatever it is, that gathering that they're going to have in the entertainment field. It's the same way in any field: education, economics, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. Any one or more of the 9 areas of activity, the racist bells always go off when they look at anything that's going on. And people are always doing something. Everybody's doing something. A racist always looks at everything and say, is it going to weaken black people and make them more stupid than they already are and have them doing crazy things that's very destructive to themselves and other black people? And if it's not, I don't want to have nothing to do with it. That's the white supremacist philosophy.
Alrighty, TalkTainMenRadio.com is a 24/7, no-charge, worldwide broadcasting facility with hosts delivering on various topics such as news, lifestyle, sports, law, health, wellness, religion, and politics. And here's a couple or three that I won't share with you. Conversation with Don Karina. Check that out.
Karima.
Stairway to Heaven with Claude. And also the Jazz Showcase. Yeah, we do that. All that and other programs that we have here at TalkTainMenRadio.com. All you have to do is go to the TalkTainMenRadio.com homepage, and you can click on programs, and you'll get an idea of all the shows that we have here on TalkTainMenRadio.com. And be a participant. Check out the show. Sample it, as they say in the music industry, to see if the show is of interest to you. You may like it and you may not, but how you going to know if you don't do it? So check these shows out. All you have to do, again, is go to the TalkTainMenRadio.com homepage, click on programs, and then there you have it. That is from TalkTainment Radio, radio the way it should be heard. My name is Mr. Bobby. I am the co-host on the Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neely Fuller Jr., and we are dealing with on this April the 3rd, Wednesday, April the 3rd, 2019. We're dealing with contradictions in this system of racism, white supremacy. 1-877-932-9766 is the number that you can call, or you can Gmail me at the numero 7, Mr. Bobby, BOBBY at gmail.com. Going to the Gmails, this comes from either Yatora or Etora. There's a Y in front of it. It says, hello, Mr. Fuller. You talked about the ant last week and how persistent the ant is. A question came to my mind. Can it be considered some level of insanity to keep at something that keeps getting destroyed? Wouldn't the more rational conclusion be to give up or do something else? I just wanted to know if I'm approaching this concept right. This applies to replacing the system of racism with justice. Do we have to be insane to keep trying to get rid of it? Rid of the system? Or what? Thank you.
No, you'll always be persistent once you set your goal and make sure that your goal is going to have a constructive effect. So you're not a person, no creature is supposed to be persistent in doing something that doesn't make sense. I mean, that's get worse and worse. No, you be persistent. First of all, before you make any move, you find out what it is that you're trying to do that's going to produce the most constructive result. Before you make any move, you ask yourself, is this going to produce a constructive result? This thing that I'm trying to do, this thing that I'm looking forward to doing. Like we started off this conversation talking about being a gang member. Is this going to have a constructive result? Constructive result for whom? Or is it going to have a non-constructive result? Non-constructive for whom? Is anybody going to lose? Is anybody going to be mistreated in me being a gang member? Because codification, period, of any kind, should never be about mistreating anybody, period. If you're part of anything that has to do with any morsel, any small segment of mistreating somebody, that's null and void right out of the gate. I mean, that should be squashed. I mean, no mercy should be given for that. None. Zero. No consideration. No, Your Honor, no. You get what you put out. And the code covers that as far as, particularly if it includes something like killing people unjustly. I mean, I hope I'm not digressing from, distracting from what this question is all about. But I'm talking about constructive and non-constructive. Everything in the universe is going to have that effect, one or the other. There's no such thing as in between. So, if you kill somebody, for instance, willfully, deliberately, and unjustly, I'm not talking about self-defense. I'm talking about just killing. It's in the code book. There's a thing called compensatory, maximum emergency compensatory, solitary confinement. Say, for instance, if I kill someone deliberately and willfully and unjustly, in other words, with malintent, I intend to mistreat this person. I'm mistreating this person by killing this person. You know, if you're doing it in self-defense, that's not mistreatment. But if I willfully and deliberately go out and hunt somebody down and kill them for my convenience, because this is what I want to do, to prove that I'm this, that, and the other, and whatnot, for glory, for money, or for something like that, oh, okay. But you should get exactly what you put out. And you should get it from whom? Not from somebody else. You should, according to the laws of justice, get it from whom? If I kill somebody, neatly forward, willfully, deliberately, unjustly, in other words, mistreatment, and I think You know who should do the killing? Neely Fuller. And I should be given every convenience for doing so, like being put in a solitary compensatory maximum emergency solitary confinement. And I sit there with that gun that I used to kill that other person, and my friend is that gun. I have this in the code book. If I'm using a gun, whatever the weapon is, preferably a gun, because that's more quote unquote humane, if you can say that. But that's the gun that I use, the one similar to it. And that's the only thing in that cell with me. And there's no conversation, no arguing with guards, because once that door slams, it never opens until I come out, after I have done what I should do. And that is just what I did to that other person, I should do it to myself. And I don't come out of there until I do it, because I come out horizontal. And how do they know that I'm dead in there? Is because they give me one meal a day. Anytime that tray doesn't come back out of that slot, you don't get no more food. So you got a choice. You can sit in there and starve to death, or you can blow your brains out like you did that other person. But that's your friend. Mm-hmm. You have proven that in that cell with you, that was your partner in business, because killing people is a business. So you go to jail with your partner. If they find the gun that you use, that's the gun that you go in there with, and it's got one bullet in the chamber. So you better not miss yourself when you get ready to do yourself in, because you're not coming out of there until you do it.
Yes.
That should be universal. That should apply so that people don't go into court and argue back and forth about all these different technicalities.
Yes, sir.
Once they prove that you committed what they call first-degree murder, I don't care who you are, anywhere on the planet, you know what's going to happen. You are going to be put in a situation where,
but you can load it on this,
and or you can, you can die of old age in there, but you don't have any music, you don't have any magazines, you don't have anything. You sit there and look at your good buddy, which is that 9mm pistol, if that's what you use. You just sit there and talk to it, cuddle it, make love to it, anything you want to do with it, because that's the only thing in that cell with you. Not a magazine, not a TV set, not nothing. And like I said, you don't come out of there until you and your buddy make a contract with each other, just like you made a contract on that person that you got rid of. There's no better concept of imprisonment for first-degree murder than that, in my opinion. And that should be universal. That should be the law all over the planet. No exceptions. Period. I mean, this foolishness of running around thinking that it's funny to kill somebody, that's got to stop. The white supremacists have glamorized this.
They sure
and that's one of the main things that black people should be saying in one voice. Oh, no, you kill somebody. Have fun. Kill yourself.
All right.
There's nothing better than that.
All righty. TalkTainmentRadio.com. We go where you go. Download the TalkTainmentRadio.com app to your cell or to your tablet. Podcasts are available. That's radio the way it should be heard. Stay right there. This is what we're going to do. We're going to go to these commercial breaks. Then when we come back, we're going to have Mr. Fuller address a question. We got a phone call in the line waiting, and much, much more as we speak about contradictions in the system of racism, which is white supremacy, on TalkTainmentRadio.com. Radio the way it should be heard.
Okay, let's move that light over a little bit and then move the camera.
TalkTainmentRadio.com is proud to present the compensatory concept. It is an effective
move the light up so you
for
move the
countering
camera.
the effects of white supremacy. TalkTainmentRadio.com is able to carry the first hour. However, the cost for the second hour is exceeding our limited budget. That is why we ask for your kind assistance in keeping the second hour on the air. If you believe like we do, help us in this struggle for justice. Go to the gold donate button on the TalkTainmentRadio.com web page and hit the gold donate button. That's the gold donate button. And please donate. Help us to keep the second hour of the compensatory concept on the air. Thank you.
Are you ready for a high school that allows you to work at a place that is right for you? Are you ready to earn a certification in healthcare, business, or manufacturing while achieving your high school diploma? Then you are ready for Life Skills High School, a free public school option for high school students 16 to 21 years old. Learn more about your free high school educational options at lifeskillshs.org or call them at 1-800-888-7992. Life Skills High School, education that fits your life.
For the best home fragrance and beauty products, shop Ash Kitchen online.
That's ASKINIC.
Made with 100% natural quality ingredients and handcrafted with your family in mind, Ash Kitchen products are better than those other guys. Ash Kitchen candles, incense, body butter, face moisturizer, and hair moisturizer are priced just right, and you can get yours at 10% off with coupon code TALK17. Support this 100% black-owned business and get your home and body smelling and feeling all right.
That's ASKINIC.
Shop Ash Kitchen online at www.ashkickin.com.
Stand by for an important announcement for visitors and investors. You have probably heard about this bad economy and high foreclosure rate. I'm here to bring you hope. Every foreclosed property is a blessing or a deal for a new buyer or investor. These properties are selling every day all over Central Ohio for several reasons. They are equity rich, worth tens of thousands of dollars above their price. There is down payment money available and remodeling funds if needed. Don't let the doom and gloom news keep you from your dream of home ownership. Call Lincoln Realty today at 865-9614. That's 865-9614. Call now. Always remember, these times, like all times, are good times if we but know what to do with them. They also have programs for investors who want to get off the couch and run with the big dogs. Call Linco today at 865-9614 or log on to repohomeslist.com.
Looking for something special for your
That's the only thing, you know. When it flips over here, it might clip us in, but we know.
Exploring God's places from Africa to Asia, from New York to Las Vegas to Hawaii, with special offers that make it affordable and exciting. Click on to www.greatgetawaytrips.com for great deals, or call today at 614-707-SHIP. That's 614-707-7447.
Sex Cold War by Kahari Inahara, the author of the Essence Magazine bestseller Race Cold War, is releasing his second book, Sex Cold War. Be on the lookout for Sex Cold War.
If you or someone you know is abusing drugs and or alcohol and want to stop the abuse, contact APDS at 1409 East Livingston Avenue. Office hours are 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily and 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday. APDS is certified by the Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services and primarily funded through the Adamate Board. Fees are based on your income and Medicaid is always accepted. For more information, call 614-253-4448.
Actually, it's not Classman Library.
This is Al Edmondson, owner of the Cutter Brother Rest Barbershop. I'm calling on all barbers and beauticians. It's time for us to unite as one. We can serve our communities better together. Join the Ohio Black Barber Beauty Network. For more information, visit www.obbn.org or call 614-427-3226 to get more information. Be the change that you want to see in your community. Join our network.
Ready to warm up from the Home Planners? Food Planners will help you find the perfect vacation spot. Explore exotic places from Africa to Asia, Caribbean to Las Vegas to Disneyland, with special offers that make it affordable and exciting. Click on to www.greatgetawaytrips.com for great deals
Here's an idea. You've heard of the notion of pay it forward. It comes from the 2000 movie, Pay It Forward. Basically, the premise is helping someone with no expectations of payback, providing assistance to someone, passing information on, simply doing a good deed for a total stranger, and instead of allowing them to pay it back, ask them to pay it forward. Doing favors for other people and asking them to do the same. The principle is the same as multi-level marketing, except that instead of soap or vitamins, it's generosity between strangers that is being passed on. Pay it forward is mentoring. It's volunteering in your community. It's shoveling a neighbor's snow, or cutting an elderly person's grass for them, or taking a senior to the store. Don't wait for someone else to do something good. Do it yourself. It starts with you. Talktainment Radio strongly embraces the notion of pay it forward. In fact, we just did.
Live call-in talk shows. Dial 1-877-932-9766 and join the conversation here on TalkTainmentRadio.com.
I think I'm entitled. You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Go ahead. Make my day.
I'm as mad as hell. I'm not going to take this anymore.
You got the power.
TalkTainmentRadio.com. We go where you go. Download the TalkTainmentRadio.com app to your cell or to your tablet. That's radio the way it should be heard. My name is Mr. Bobby. I am the co-host on the Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neil A. Fuller Jr. We are discussing contradictions in the system of white supremacy, racism. You need to know what it is and how it works so that you can effectively deal with racism, white supremacy. Before we take the phone call, the brother from South Africa who called or who wrote me about the book, and you get the book in South Africa, brother, Mr. Fuller will address that in about 10 minutes or 15 minutes. We have a special time where he addresses that. But good question. We'll find out the latest on that. Victor Palmer from Canada, concerning donations, we addressed that earlier. But for you, Victor, if you wanted to use PayPal, you can. Or you can also use the Post Office Box 6184, Columbus, Ohio 43206. Thank you from Brother Muko from Baltimore. He's said that he would make a donation. He does regularly call. Special hello to Barbie, who said that she's listening for the full 2 hours. Thank you for that. And listen, if you want to listen to the program and even look at us, and I don't know why you'd want to do that, but you can, go to the YouTube channel, type in the word Talktainment, then type in the word radio, then scroll down to Talktainment number 2. This is all on YouTube, and then hit the like and share button. You're right there. Okay, we're speaking about contradictions. Today is the 3rd of April, Wednesday, 2019. And we're going to go to the phone lines. Caller, you're on with Mr. Fuller, and you can be heard, so fire away.
Thank you. I just want to say thanks to Mr. Bobby, thank you, Mr. Fuller. My life is completely changed around I'm much more productive and much more constructive than I used to be pre-COVID. So I wanted to say thank you for that. I have 2 questions real quick. I'm calling from Ferguson, Missouri, and we are in Ferguson, Missouri, I think more so than anywhere, we are under attack. So we have open war has been declared on us here in Ferguson, Missouri, on black males. So it is qualified to then declare counter war against those who are trying to end our lives. So then my question is, if we then, under the rules of engagement, under the banner of counter war, if we take the lives of those who are trying to take the lives of us, do we still have to then take our own lives?
Good question. Mr. Fuller?
Well, in order to not have the one thing that I do not want and shouldn't want, nobody should want it, is what? Confusion. So, in answer to that question, I have to go directly to the code book. I don't want to sound evasive because I'm not evading it. I just want focus and clarity. When you start talking about any type of violence or counter-violence, I usually have people, according to the code, I direct people to get the details of violence and counter-violence. That's being, counter-violence is action taken against those who are taking violent action against you.
Mm-hmm.
There's a prescription for it, a codified procedure for doing this. And it's outlined, or rather detailed, really, in the textbook for victims of white supremacy. So in answer to that question, I always tell people, go to the war section or the law section, and it covers violence, counter-violence, from the codified perspective. Violence, counter-violence, and the details of this. And so all of that is outlined in detail so that there will be no confusion. Because when you start talking about any type of violence, which means somebody's going to get hurt physically, and somebody might get killed, then that has to be very, 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 very specific about how that is done. No guesswork, no sloppiness, no nothing that brings about question marks. There shouldn't be any question marks when it comes to any kind of violence or counter-violence. Everything should be cut and dried, just like I laid out about what should happen to a person who commits what they call first-degree murder, meaning you willfully and deliberately and unjustly take somebody out of this world, okay? That should be handled universally, not just in this particular town or that particular town or that state. No, that should be done away with altogether.
Mm-hmm.
You should have one rule, just one, that applies to everybody on the planet, all the time, without exception, so that nobody is what? Confused.
Yes.
The average person who has killed somebody, first thing they do is get a lawyer and go there, and they talk to the lawyer, and the lawyer says, well, I can get you off on this and whatnot, but on this count, you got, and we got different counts that we go by. This count, that count, and what? No, there's just one count. Did you do it? Got to make sure that the person did what was done. Was it done willfully, deliberately, and unjustly with an incorrect intent, a non-constructive intent? Then it means one thing. What you put out is exactly what you're going to get, and you're going to get it from the best person to give it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is yourself, because that's what you gave.
Oh.
You gave something to somebody like death, and that death should come to you.
Okay.
From your own hand. The next death in line is yours.
Okay. Before we take his second question, Mr. Fuller, now I've turned to the section war and counter-war to try to follow you, since you said it's in this section. And I'm on page 365, but is there a specific page that we turn to? Because I'm looking at page 365, and the question came up, is counter-violence ever justified? And you did answer it in this book, but is there a specific page that we can go to address what the brother asked about being attacked by the racists in Ferguson, Missouri?
See, and if you're going to get into specifics,
we had him
what is Ferguson, Missouri, of his Timbuktu? It comes down to one thing. When you are facing a racist who is armed, the codified procedure is what? The 3 F's. Don't fuss, don't fight, don't flee. Now that covers that. Why? Because you're going to lose, that's why. And where's the evidence you're going to lose? Because everybody that you hear about it that tries it, that's what happens.
Okay.
I mean, black people should get smart about that.
But according to the brother...
If you're talking about this so-called a law enforcement officer, if you're talking about that, okay, Or see, I don't know specifically what he's talking about. If he's talking about dealing with a law enforcement officer, don't fuss, don't fight, don't flee.
Okay.
Why? Because it doesn't work. That's why.
Okay, but he said that they are being, black men in Ferguson, Missouri are being attacked, and if I'm
attacked by whom?
By
see, I don't get the details.
Okay.
Everything is about the details.
Okay, hey brother, who is attacking the black men in Ferguson?
So we are being attacked by if they are law enforcement officers, they are off-duty law enforcement officers, which we believe that they are, but they're not coming under the banner of being law enforcement officers. These are just whatever you want to call them. They're not under the color of the law, so they're not in uniform. They're not being law enforcement officers at the time, but they are openly attacking us. We do believe that they are law enforcement officers, but they are not at the time that they're doing the attack.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, now he was specific, Mr. Fuller. He said that they're not exactly, or we don't know. They don't know if they're law enforcement officers, but what they do know is that they are being attacked. So the question is, what shall they do? They're not fighting, they're not fussing, they're not fleeing, but should they just stand there and get killed?
Here again, it comes down to the details, because from what he's saying right now, it looks like there's a lot of confusion. See, so the first thing you do before you do anything, you're going to have, everybody is going to have to get on the same page of who is supposed to do what and how. Otherwise, the confusion is just going to escalate, and you're going to have a lot of dead bodies just lying around, and nobody knows anything about what anybody is doing or why they're doing it. And it just keeps getting worse. See, what you don't want is for a situation to get worse than it already is. Okay? You want to eliminate whatever is going on that shouldn't be going on.
Okay.
So you actually, from what I'm hearing from this, it looks like it's, some type of free-for-all, Wild West type thing. And so that is what you call confusion, mass confusion. Okay? You have to get rid of the confusion first and figure out who is supposed to be doing what, so that you can always come out of it on winner.
Okay.
Otherwise, it'll just be more and more confusion. And anytime in the system of white supremacy you got more confusion, it means black people are going to lose, which is the one thing you don't want to keep doing.
All right.
So that's what we keep doing.
Okay.
We start off doing a lot of stuff that might look cute in the beginning, but it always winds up being a bigger mess than it was in the beginning.
Okay.
And codification is about eliminating whatever the problem is.
Okay. All right. What's your second question, my brother?
Yeah, the second question is, it's in terms of how lies, the racist man and racist woman tell us a lie. Do they work like if you get to the base of the base lie, that every other lie is built on a base lie? But once you get to the truth of that base lie, it is what it is. Once you get to that base lie, does all the lies on top of that base lie to the crumble? Are you less confused about all those other lies once you get to that base line, clear that contradiction and that confusion up?
Okay. Thank you for your call. Mr. Fuller?
According to the Compensatory Counter-Racist Code, any white person anywhere on the planet that says anything to a non-white person that is not true has the label of being a racist suspect forever. Period. Any white person that says anything that's not true to a person who is classified as non-white is on that racist suspect list forever. There's no coming back from that. Just one time. That's all it takes, according to the code. See, we need strict rules for everybody, white and non-white, in order to clear up what? This whole racial mess. We can't have all of this shilly-shally stuff that we've been doing. I mean, everything is just kind of winging it. I mean, I don't care, demonstrations and whatnot. We're just winging it. We don't know who's going to do what and what the result is going to be or nothing. We should know what the result is going to be for everything dealing with racism. in every move that everybody makes, white or non-white, you know before it even happens what the result is going to be when it does happen. You already know it.
Okay.
That's codification.
All right.
And we should be just as specific. Getting back to it, to put these, summary on what we just said. Any white person right now in 2019 that says anything to a non-white person anywhere on the planet that is not true is on the racist suspect list forever. Period. No exceptions.
All righty. TalkTameRadio.com. We go where you go. Download the TalkTameRadio.com app to your cell or to your tablet. That's radio the way it should be heard. My name is Mr. Bobby. I am the co-host on the Compensatory Concept with Mr. Nearly Fuller Jr. But it is at this time, and we're 5 minutes over the time limit, we have Mr. Fuller discuss his book. So for my brother in South Africa and those around the world who are listening, here's Nearly Fuller discussing or talking about his book. Mr. Fuller, go ahead, please.
You can get the book by going to producejustice.com. That's producejustice.com. And what will come up on the screen is a brief description of the basic textbook and an additional book called A Compensatory Counter-Racist Codified Word Guide. It tells you the individual person what words to look for, to ask about, what they mean when other people use them. If a person says, "Make America great again," for instance, you say, "Okay, what do you mean by make?" Then what do you mean by America? What is an American? What is not an American? What qualifies a person to be an American? What does an American do that nobody else does? You might have 10 dozen questions just on that second word alone. America. See, we talk about America this and America that. Nobody gives a definition. That's got to stop. You want a definition that everybody agrees on, and everybody understands for every word that is ever used. And particularly a volatile word like America. You hear black people saying, "Well, America has never been good to black people." Well, and then say, "I'm an African American." What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Stop and do some thinking. You're just throwing words around. And the white supremacists strive off of this type of confusion. So the textbook is about clearing up all of this. Get the words straight first. Every word. Don't skip over a single word without talking about it maybe for 40 days and 40 nights. Just one word. What that word means to everybody. So that you don't have what? Confusion. Why? Because the white supremacists strive off of confusion. Then if you say make America great again, after you get it straight about that make in America, then you go to great. What do you mean by great? What do you mean by great? And you might spend 50 days just talking about that one word. What makes anything great? Give me all the ingredients. Give me the details. But go to producejustice.com, and that's the way the codified book, the book that I'm trying to get people to read, that's the way it approaches everything. We need more details for every move that everybody makes on this planet, so we'll know what everybody's doing and why they're doing it and what the effect is going to be. That's what codification is about. It shouldn't be any guesswork about anything that happens on this planet from this day forward.
Okay. For the brother from South Africa, before we move off this subject, he asked me, can he get the book there, or where can he get the book? Can he go to social media? They want that book down in South Africa. How can they get that, or what are you doing to make sure that they can get that book?
Been trying to get it. As far as I know, we got as far as the UK and Canada, and right now the people who are supposed to be working on it, they haven't gotten any further than that because the cost is prohibitive. I mean, everything you have to go through to get the bargain.
Yes.
And they're trying to find out the channels for doing that. And anybody who can give information about how to go about doing it in an efficient manner, we're soliciting information. We don't have the information. I don't have it. I haven't talked to anybody that does have it. What are the procedures where the book can be gotten there in a swift, efficient, and cost-effective manner? You know, I've been trying to get the answer to that question. See, everything in solving problems is what? Questions and answers. I haven't been getting any answers. And all these years I've been trying to. Where are the answers of how you go about doing that? All I get is more question marks.
Okay.
So if anybody can come up with the procedures for doing it, I want to know what they are.
All right. But right now, people can go to producejustice.com and follow the procedures there. Okay.
Yes, but that won't get a book into South Africa.
Okay. All
That's
right.
what people have been telling me.
Okay. All right, my brother in South Africa, thank you for your Gmail. One thing I can say is just keep on trying, or maybe there are some alternative methods. Okay, we're speaking about contradictions here on Wednesday, April the 3rd, 2019. Contradictions in the system of white supremacy, racism. Mr. Fuller, this is from Anonymous. Anonymous says here, Mr. Fuller, your answer to the brother from Missouri was confusing. What should we do when our brothers are unjustly killed by white people?
I'm going to say it again. I cover everything as best I can in the textbook for victims of racism, because to talk about it on the air, winging it in sound bites, that I'm going to get, I know that I'm going to get it, I'm going to get confusion. And you're talking about deadly force here. Either just or non-just. When you start talking about something where violence is involved, everything should be very, 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 very detailed, which means I would have to have tons of information about what's going on in Ferguson. I mean, each incident has to be examined with a fine-tooth comb. I mean, going over and over and over again. What are you talking about? Because each incident is different. So you have to consider every element of each incident so that you get the result that you should get, which is what? Justice. That's the ultimate thing, guaranteeing that no person is mistreated in all these processes, and guaranteeing that the person that needs help the most gets the most constructive help. But just to say that there's a lot of violence going on against black males in Ferguson, Missouri, and say, okay, we got to have counter-violence, we got to put a stop to that, and then just throw a whole bunch of stuff up in the air about how you're going to go about doing it, who's going to do what, on what date, when, how, what's the procedures, and see, everything is about procedures.
Yes.
I mean, step by step.
Step by step.
Yeah, step number 1, do this.
Okay, listen.
Step number 2, do this. Step number 3. You have to have a lot of details. I don't have enough information.
Okay. Got to leave it there for this hour, Mr. Fuller. Talk to him at radio.com, the world's greatest radio the way it should be heard. Stay tuned for the second hour of the compensatory concept.
Thanks for listening to the Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neely Fuller, heard exclusively on TalkTainmentRadio.com, the world's greatest radio.
The most important question in all racial matters is why. One should always ask it.
Radio, the way it should be heard.
You got the power. The world's greatest radio. TalkTainmentRadio.com. Talktainment Radio, worldwide sound. TalkTainmentRadio.com. We give you a reason to come. The world's greatest radio. we give you a reason to stay. Radio, the way it should be heard. You got the power.
The views and opinions expressed are those of the host and guests and not necessarily those of TalkTainmentRadio.com, the management, the staff, or K&E World Network, LLC.
Live call-in talk shows. Dial 1-877-932-9766 and join the conversation here on TalkTainmentRadio.com.
This is the Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neely Phillips, heard exclusively on TalkTainmentRadio.com, the world's greatest radio. Radio, the way it should be heard. And now, Mr. Neely Fuller.
If you do not understand white supremacy, which is racism, what it is and how it works, everything else that you understand will only confuse you, only confuse you, only confuse you.
Welcome to the second hour of the Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. here on TalkTainmentRadio.com. I am your co-host, Mr. Bobby, and this is Radio the Way It Should Be Heard. The phone number that you can get in contact with the show is 1-877-932-9766. You can also go to the YouTube channel, type in the word Talktainment, and then type in the word radio, scroll down to Talktainment number 2, and bam, you are there. You are there. Hit the subscribe and like button. Also go to the TalkTainmentRadio.com homepage and just hit the listen live, and you're there again. Hit the like and subscribe button there. Gmail me at the numero 7, Mr. Bobby, BOBBY at gmail.com. Of course, Facebook is in it also. Go to Facebook.com/Talktainment, and you can do that. We are speaking about, on this day, Wednesday, the 3rd of April, 2019. We're speaking about contradictions in the system of racism, white supremacy. If you missed the first hour, go back, review it. Interesting questions there. And we will check that out. To Brother Weston, your question actually was answered by a live caller that called in about Nipsey Hussle, but if we come up on it again, we will have Mr. Fuller address that. Again, contradictions in the system of racism, white supremacy. Before I do the Gmail, Mr. Fuller, what if someone came up to you and you were on the streets of Washington, District of District of Columbia, and just smacked you for no reason, no apparent reason at all? What would be your response?
Well, not being armed, like I'm not, my response would be to try to get away from the aggression.
Okay.
That's all. Real simple. That's what I mean by codification. I mean, well, what am I to defend myself the best way that I can?
By running.
Yes. Try to put distance between me and the source of the aggression.
Okay.
That's number one. That should be worldwide. Because the person might be what you call mentally deranged or whatnot. It might, I don't know what the person intends to do. Rob me or what? Or retaliation for something that, they're mad at somebody else and took it out on me. I just got slapped. So put distance between me and the person, and if I have problems getting away from the person because the person is not only slapping me but grabbing me and holding me so they can slap me again, then I, with the intent of getting away from the aggression, I do whatever it takes, including breaking the person's arm if I can do it. Okay, since they're using their arm and their hand to slap me. But that's it. I mean, just this is elementary stuff, according to the code.
Yes. So you're,
you just, defend yourself the best way you can.
By running in this particular case. Okay. Don't fuss, don't fight, don't flee.
Don't fight. But if it's a law enforcement officer, see what I mean?
Yes.
Somebody who says that they are law enforcement, then I just don't fuss, don't fight, don't flee. But if the person is just beating me up, just walk up to me and start beating me for no reason and say that he or she is a law enforcement officer, then I have to just try to keep the damage from being done.
Okay.
Because chances are the person is also armed.
Yes. Okay.
So you always have the mentality that you're already in prison. Now this is very important for everybody to remember. Every black person should when you walk, go anywhere, when you walk out your door, even when you're inside your door, you are not at your house. You are in prison. If you're inside your house, you are still in a cell. You're in a cell in the prison of white supremacy.
Okay.
So you don't have any safe place.
Yes. Okay.
There's no place on the planet where you are safe in the prison from what?
Okay.
Safe from what? The prison masters.
Yes. Okay.
All right? So the prison masters have access to you wherever you go.
Right.
And if you keep this in mind, you never make these kind of mistakes.
Okay.
That black people keep making over and over again, talking about your rights.
Okay.
You don't have any rights as a prisoner of war. You got to get that out of your mind.
So we have to stay focused then.
Stay focused.
While we're in this.
And when you say stay focused, you have to be very specific. Stay focused on what? On you are a prisoner of war. You were born in captivity. And that has never stopped.
Right.
You were never free.
So the codified
prisoner of war. So always think of yourself
yes, sir.
as walking around in a prison uniform, and that anybody who is the master of the prison, which is anybody white, all right, that comes up to you, you remember that person is a prison master, and you are a prisoner. You have already been captured. There's no escape.
Okay, I understand that. So kicking his ass would not be the correct codified response because you are in a prison system of white supremacy.
Well, even if you do that in self-defense, you're going to still have to answer to the prison master.
Yes, sir. Okay.
You just can't stand and think about step one.
Yes, sir.
That's step one. You might say, well, he can walk up and slap me. You know, I mean, all hell is going to be all over him because I'm going to kill it.
Yeah.
All right? Okay, so you killed it. That's step one. But what black people don't do is step two. You got to already predict what's going to happen after you do that.
Yes. Okay.
Okay?
Yes,
you got to be thinking about what you know, when you're saying in your mind, if he slaps me, I saw him slap that other guy. He's walking up and down the street slapping people. If he slaps me, I'm going to pull out my gun and unload on him.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
Okay, then what?
Then what?
See, black people never think about then what.
Mm-hmm.
Then what?
Yeah.
See, we're always real good at Act 1 in this play called the System of White Supremacy, but we don't have no plans for Act 2 and Act 3 and Act 4.
With that, I do understand what you are saying. I got that. Looking at the Gmail, says this. Black Speak says this, Mr. Fuller. Mr. Fuller, can you please explain why black women are so obsessed with wearing wigs and hair weaves more than other ethnic groups? Is this pathology evidence of self-hate or economics because of the cost of hairstyling?
Black people's actions are the result of the system of white supremacy, period. I'm going to say that again. Everything that black people do on this planet is the result of the system of white supremacy. Now, and we have been carefully trained. Trained by whom? By the white supremacists. To be people who are, in their behavior, tacky, trashy, and are terroristic. They have made us into people who are non-constructive in just about everything that we do, so that so-called black culture is just as rotten as it can be. This thing that we say we are so proud of, we are as crazy as any people can possibly be here in 2019, worldwide. We are absolutely insane to the maximum degree. And we've been insane for so long, we don't even recognize it as being insane. Walking around grinning and celebrating and showing off. And we are nowhere near the quality of people that any people should ever be. We should try to be ultimately what, according to the code, universal man, and universal woman in tune with the best that there is, the most constructive activity in the known universe. We're nowhere near that. So all of our behavior is stupid, rotten, tragic, even when we think that we're at our very best. It's a mess. We're just that messed up. Compared to what? Compared to the way that we ought to be. Compared to the way that all people should be. Everybody, white, non-white, nowhere near are we qualified to do any bragging about anything. That's why I say that here on the air and in the textbook and whatnot. One of the ugliest things that a black person can do is celebrate anything. We don't have anything to celebrate. We're too backward. We're completely out of it. And we don't even recognize it. But it's not our fault because we were born in a sewer of non-constructive activity. And so all of our tattoos and hairdos and just gets crazier and crazier. I mean, we are walking around, I mean, just a whole bunch of rotten junk, really. Compared to what? Compared to the way that we should be. The most problem-solving, advanced people that the world has ever seen. That's what we should be.
Okay. Now, would that same logic, Mr. Fuller, apply to men who now, and I've seen videos of this, where men can get, say a man is bald-headed and decide that, you know, his hair is not growing in certain places. So he gets a, I don't know what you call it, maybe a weave, but I've seen it where they can now make a man look like he has a full head of hair. And I'm not talking about a wild haircut, but a nice haircut, manicured, shaved, faded. It looks pretty good. Would that same logic apply to males getting their hair did?
Well, it comes down to action. Everything in codification is about thought, speech, and action. Now, when you come out of the hair salon, that's males and females, what do you expect the constructive result to be of what you just did when you went in there and got done what was done, and you come out? Now, what do you expect? This is something you wanted to do. So it gets back to these 4 wants, the four things that pertain to wants,
yes,
W-A-N-T-S. All right, you wanted to go into a place called a hair salon, male or female, all right? So you went in and got done what you went in there to do. Now, when you come out and people look at you, because evidently you intend for people to look at you, that's why you did it. Oh, yes. You know, I want people to look at me. So it comes down to one central thing. Once people look at you, what is supposed to be their constructive reaction to you doing what you did? You got this, you say you got your hair done, or your nails done, or your feet done. Whatever it is, you're trying to show off to someone who you want to do what? Look at me. Hey, y'all, look at me. Stop what y'all doing and look at me. That's really what you're saying. That's why you went in there and came out looking different from why you went in. Okay? All right, see, this is pure science. Codification is about not taking no prisoners. Looking at everything exactly the way that it is. And stop lying to yourself and lying to other people. No, you went in there with the intention of getting something that when you come out, you would look different from the way that you went in. Otherwise, why go in? So you came in, you came out looking different. Okay, number one, so far so good. Okay, so everybody's looking at you. Now, what do you expect the constructive result to be of all the people who stopped to take a look at this super wonder that just came out of that salon. Oh, look at that. Look at her. Look at him. Look at it. Whatever it is, whatever impression you're trying to convey. And this is real important, folks. Convey to whom? Who are you doing this for? In order to attract attention, in order for what to happen as a result. Because you want something special to happen now. You didn't do all of that just for everything to just go about being the same. You want an what? Improvement over your condition. Now, who's going to provide that improvement based on how you look? That's what you should be thinking about.
Okay. TalkTainmentRadio.com is a 24/7 no-charge worldwide broadcasting facility with hosts delivering on various topics such as news, lifestyle, sports, law, health, wellness, religion, and politics. Now, here's three that I'm going to share with you. Number one, This is Libby. Check that show out and find out what she deals with. The second show is Talking Sports Plus with Mr. Bobby. Check that out. And also, Stairway to Heaven with Claude. Now, all these shows are exclusive to TalkTainmentRadio.com, and you owe it to yourself to get to sample these shows and give it a listen. Some you will like, some you may not like, but at least you sampled it to check them out to see what they were about. So all you have to do is go to the TalkTainmentRadio.com homepage, click on programs. A list of all the programs that we have here on TalkTainment Radio will come up. Select a few and give it a listen. That's from TalkTainmentRadio.com, radio the way it should be heard. 1-877-932-9766 is the number that you can call to get in contact with today's show. Today's show, we're speaking about contradictions in the system of racism, which is white supremacy. Let's see here. Let's go to this Gmail here. This is from Alfred Manlangu from South Africa. He says, a very informative show, Mr. Fuller, that you had on Wednesdays. And you always speak. You were speaking last week of the scene from The Godfather of the meeting between Michael and Mo. I saw a video clip of that particular scene on YouTube, and then he shared the link about that. Keep up the good work, Mr. Fuller. This is from Alfred from South Africa. Yeah, you always said that there's something that we could learn from these shows. Let's see. Let's go to this one. Mr. Blunt says this. Mr. Fuller, what is your opinion on the movie Godfather #3? You always mention Godfather #1 and sometimes #2, but what is your opinion on Godfather #3?
Well, Godfather #3 didn't have a lot of lessons in it. It had a lot of action and whatnot, a lot of talking, but not a lot of lessons, in my opinion. Now, some people say it has some, and I'm sure that it did. Certainly it had some. The way that it ended with Michael Corleone just falling over dead after all of this. And in the middle of the movie, somebody tells me, because I've never seen the movie all the way through, I just saw enough of it, but I read enough reviews of it, because Godfather 1 and 2 are usually the ones that they show over and over again on television and whatnot. They leave out #3. So I think there's a reason for that. There's not a lot of lessons in that haven't been covered in Godfather 1 and 2. That's just my guess. But Michael, with the lesson in Godfather 3 is just one primary lesson. Michael started off going into the family business for what reason? To help his family. This is real important. When black people do anything, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? You're joining a gang. What are you doing it for? What are you doing it for? See, it comes down to that wants again. So what did Michael want? Michael wanted what his father wanted, to look out for the Corleone family. But you know what Michael discovered in Godfather 3 after he thought about it? We started off doing doing everything that we could to protect the family. And what happened? I wind up having my own brother shot in the head, Fredo. And he's saying, Fredo, Fredo, Fredo is long dead. Fredo, why is Fredo dead? Fredo is dead because you had him killed. Because he wasn't good for the family business. And it's sort of like a rerun of the entire Roman Empire back in the old days. If you read all about Tiberius and Germanicus, whomever some of the names are, Lady Livia, Claudius, Nero, Caligula, Julius Caesar, a lot of them wound up killing each other about that royal thing, that empire thing. That thing, like in Godfather, Kay kept saying, this 2,000-year-old Sicilian thing. You're all just going back and forth killing each other, and you wind up, killing your own members of your own family. You're doing so much killing. You're as crazy as you can be, and I don't want no part of it. Okay? Now, the reason I say these movies are very important because that's exactly the model for the system of white supremacy. Godfather 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. And that's why I've recommended it as two of the leading movies to see. If you understand Godfather 1 and 2, you understand white supremacy because it's all about fun, glory, and material comfort, but with no ultimate constructive aim at all. And black people copy that nonsense. And that's why we're turned not to, on the thing about it, we don't have the muscle and the power and all like that. We're just imitations. We're just prisoners of war imitating the prison masters.
Okay.
And you're talking about absurd.
Yes. Okay. Let's go to the phone lines. Today being April the 3rd, Wednesday, we're talking about contradictions in the system of racism, which is white supremacy. Okay, go to the phone lines. You're on with Mr. Fuller. What is your question?
Yes, Mr. Fuller, this is more of a comment. They just recently had, I guess, a music rap artist. He got killed by probably another black person. So here's a comment. I want you to comment on that. You say that we're in prison. So when the warden of the prison provides the prisoners with guns, the whole purpose of that is he knows that we have so much poison in ourselves that we're going to use those guns on each other instead of him. What would you say about that?
Absolutely. That's the correct analysis. See, the warden of a prison or a white supremacist doesn't hand anywhere in the world. You see it on television. You see young black males on the back of a pickup truck. And they got what? AK-47s, and they don't have shoes on their feet. But they're running all over the place, killing people all over the village. I'm talking about all over the world. People from what we call the continent, Africa, and other places. Wherever you find people of color, you find a lot of people running around with AK-47s. That's like the standard world rifle. You got plenty of them. Plenty of them from whom? From the white supremacists, the usual suspects, that's whom. But you look down, and their clothes are rags. You go where they lay their heads at night, and there's no running water. There are no toilets. There are no washing machines. There's none of this stuff that you would think that they would have, running around with all this heavy equipment, sometimes motorized equipment. But all the people around them, including their families, when they go to visit, after they get through killing a bunch of people and get wounds themselves, and they go to heal their wounds, so they go back to the village where they came from. And it's a hut with no running water, and the people haven't had any food. Did you bring some food back with your rifle and ammunition? No, I didn't, but I got plenty of rifles and ammunition. I got bandoliers all over my shoulders and whatnot. Pretty shiny bullets to kill people. To kill what people? Other people in the village across the hill, because the white supremacists say that they're my enemies. Well now, why do you think the white supremacists gave you that AK-47? To kill your enemies. What are they getting out of it? Getting what people always get when they're conquerors, or when they do anything. Fun, glory, and material comfort. But while you're doing all this shooting, they're grabbing all the minerals. That's what's going on.
Mr. Fuller, let me ask you this. In your opinion, is it possible that the racist white supremacists killed Nipsey Hussle to make it look like black folks did it? You know, being that we're speaking about contradictions. Because as I understand it, the information that has come my way, that he, being Nipsey Hussle, was about to have a format that the police and all the gang members and so forth were to get together to cut down or cut out the violence. So is it possible, in your opinion, being that you've been here a while and you have seen how this thing works, is it possible in a contradictory fashion that the racist white supremacists killed him? Is it possible?
In the textbook for victims of white supremacy, the book that you can get by going to producejustice.com, all situations like the one you just named has one response according to the code. That's why I say we need a code, so we don't do head scratching every time something happens, because something is happening every day. We have a code that fits all situations. That's what we need. We don't have it, but we need it. And it goes like this. Many people have been harmed that should not be harmed. That's what will apply to this situation that you're talking about right now. This is the way it goes. It's in the textbook. And you go immediately to it when something like this happens. Repeatedly. You do the same thing each time. And it's 4 parts. It's 4 statements. Many people have been harmed who should not be harmed. That's statement 1. Number 2. Many people are to blame. Number 3. The people who are most to blame are hiding in plain sight. Number 4. The people who are most to blame are all white supremacists. In other words, that person that you named, what was his name?
Nipsey Hussle.
Yes. And he's classified as what? Black.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
In the system of white supremacy, the white supremacists are to blame for his death. Automatically. Why? Because it's on their watch. It's under their jurisdiction. They're the most powerful people in the world. Anything that happens to a non-white person that should not happen is their fault. Why? Because they're in charge. That's the logic, and that's the truth. And you stick with that. That's absolute rock-bottom code, top to bottom. Anytime. Not just this incident, all the incidents.
Okay.
Why? We're in their prison.
Okay. Hold it right there, Mr. Fuller.
Masters are always responsible.
Okay.
Like the captain of a ship.
Hold it right there. We're going to come back to that point about the prison masters. We have to take a break. TalkTainmentradio.com. We go where you go. Download the TalkTainmentradio.com app to your cell or to your tablet. Podcasts are available. That's radio the way it should be heard. Stay right there. Coming up next will be disappointed that Mr. Fuller is making about the prison masters in control. All that and more as we deal with the subject contradiction in the system of racism, white supremacy on TalkTainmentradio.com.
TalkTainmentRadio.com is proud to present the compensatory concept. It is an effective system for countering the effects of white supremacy. TalkTainmentRadio.com is able to carry the first hour. However, the cost for the second hour is exceeding our limited budget. That is why we ask for your kind assistance in keeping the second hour on the air. If you believe like we do, help us in this struggle for justice. Go to the gold donate button on the talktainmentradio.com web page and hit the gold donate button. That's the gold donate button. And please donate. Help us to keep the second hour of the compensatory concept on the air. Thank you.
Are you ready for a high school that allows you to work at a place that is right for you? Are you ready to earn a certification in healthcare, business, or manufacturing while achieving your high school diploma? Then you are ready for Life Skills High School, a free public school option for high school students 16 to 21 years old. Learn more about your free high school educational options at lifeskillshs.org or call them at 1-800-888-7992. Life Skills High School, education that fits your life.
For the best home fragrance and beauty products, shop Ash Kitchen online. That's A-S-H-K-I-C-K-I-N. Made with 100% natural quality ingredients and handcrafted with your family in mind, Ash Kitchen products are better than those other guys. Ash Kitchen candles, incense, body butter, face moisturizers, and hair moisturizers are priced just right, and you can get yours at 10% off with coupon code TALK17. Support this 100% black-owned business and get your home and body smelling and feeling alright. That's A-S-H-K-I-C-K-I-N.
Shop Ash Kitchen online at www.ashkickin.com.
Stand by for an important announcement for visitors and investors. You have probably heard about this bad economy of high foreclosure rates. I'm here to bring you hope. Every foreclosed property is a blessing or a deal for a new buyer or investor. These properties are selling every day all over Central Ohio for several reasons. They're equity rich, worth tens of thousands of dollars above their price. There is down payment money available and remodeling funds if needed. Don't let the doom and gloom news keep you from your dream of home ownership. Call Lincoln Realty today at 865-9614. That's 865-9614. Call now. Always remember, these times, like all times, are good times if you but know what to do with them. We also have programs for investors who want to get off the couch and roll with the big dogs. Call Lincoln today at 865-9614 or log on to RepoHomeList.com.
Looking for something special for your small group? Take a trip. Cruise Planners will help you plan the event of a lifetime. Explore exotic places from Africa to Asia and Europe to Las Vegas to Hawaii with special offers that make it affordable and exciting. Click on to www.greatgetawaytrips.com for great deals. Or call today at 614-707-SHIP. That's 614-707-7447.
Sex Cold War by Kahali Inahara, the author of the Essence Magazine bestseller Race Cold War, is releasing his second book, Sex Cold War. Be on the lookout for Sex Cold War.
If you or someone you know is abusing drugs and or alcohol and want to stop the abuse, contact APDS at 1409 East Livingston Avenue. Office hours are 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily and 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday. APDS is certified by the Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services and primarily funded through the Adams Board. Fees are based on your income and Medicaid is always accepted. For more information, call 614-252.
You know, the reason you couldn't get it last week is because it was a test run last week.
Oh, okay.
We did get the recording. That's on the link.
Yeah.
As far as the podcast, you didn't get that.
Oh, okay.
But you get it this week.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, because I wanted to.
Yeah, I just thought
I didn't see how it went. So.
Wasn't sure how it was going to go, so we didn't put it on the website.
Oh, okay. So, but the podcast is stored where?
The podcast is go to talk10radio.com. You should have a page there that says your program. Just click on programs. Shift until you find your page.
Yeah.
And click on that, and your programs will be there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now he said something about he needed a. Was it? I think he had sent a resume. He needs something shorter.
Okay.
You got his email, so just correspond.
Okay.
Yeah. He didn't want to mess with it because he didn't know what all you want out of it, but it needs to be shorter. That's
Yeah, I have a short one with a different piece. So
okay. All right. Yeah.
Here's an idea. You've heard of the notion of pay it forward. It comes from the $2 movie, Pay It Forward. Basically, the premise is helping someone with no expectations of payback, providing assistance to someone, passing information on, simply doing a good deed for a total stranger, and instead of allowing them to pay it back, ask them to pay it forward. Doing favors for other people and asking them to do the same. The principle is the same as multi-level marketing, except that instead of soap or vitamins, it's generosity between strangers that is being passed on. Pay it forward is mentoring. It's volunteering in your community. It's shoveling a neighbor's snow, or cutting an elderly person's grass for them, or taking a senior to the store. Don't wait for someone else to do something good. Do it yourself. It starts with you. Talktainment Radio strongly embraces the notion of pay it forward. In fact, we just did.
Live call-in talk shows. Dial 1-877-932-9766 and join the conversation here at TalkTainmentRadio.com.
I think I'm entitled. You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Go ahead. Make my day.
I'm as mad as hell, but I'm not going to take this anymore.
You got the power.
TalkTainmentRadio.com. We go where you go. Just download the TalkTainmentRadio.com app to your cell, to your tab, but that's radio the way it should be heard. My name is Mr. Bobby. I am the co-host on the Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neely Fuller Jr., and we are discussing, Mr. Fuller is addressing contradictions in the system of racism, which is white supremacy. 1-877-932-9766 is the number you call. Mr. Fuller, you left off by saying the prison masters are in control in this particular system. You want to go ahead and finish that point?
Well, it's not just in one situation. Prison masters